Talofa lava, this is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Susana Swiswiki. Coming up, Samoa Parliament to vote on no confidence motion against the Prime Minister. Also,
addressing the problem involves going back to the primary school and teaching things differently.
low NCEA results in Round Nations concerns communities. And we bring you the latest results from Pacific sports teams. But first, in Fiji, there are early reports of food gardens being damaged as Cyclone Ray makes its way down the country's eastern islands. The Category 2 system is generating wind gusts of up to 130 kilometres an hour and continuous heavy rains. Sekona Tovehi is a member of the Disaster Committee for Vanua Balavu Island that lies in the forecast path of the cyclone. He told RNZ Pacific that he went to check on his livestock during a lull in the storm and saw a lot of damage.
I see it was badly damaged. Root crops like cassava, banana, some tea trees, some yams, it's all down. So now we just staying inside the house and keep us safe. No one's walking around at the moment. We all stay in our own houses. Just want to keep safe.
All schools are closed and flights and shipping services to the islands have been suspended. For the latest updates on the cyclone, head over to our website rnz.co.nz/Pacific. A motion of no confidence against Prime Minister Fiamē Naomi Mataafa will be the first item on the agenda when Samoa's Parliament convenes on Tuesday. The Speaker of the Legislative Assembly, Papali'i Leo Masipua, granted the opposition's formal request for a vote of no confidence against Fiamē. Opposition leader Tuileipa Sailele Malele Ngaoi, who is also the head of the Human Rights Protection Party, confirmed that the Speaker approved the motion in writing and allowed 5 members from the opposition bench to speak on it. And joining me to talk more on this is our Samoa correspondent, Tipi Autangavaia. Talofa Tipi, a lot has happened since we last spoke. The Speaker of the House has accepted Tuileipa's motion of no confidence, and Tuileipa even called on Fiamē to resign. What's Fiamé's response in all of this?
Yeah, interesting. The politics is now in Samoa because Tuileipa, in a press conference last weekend on Friday, has made known to the public that the Speaker has wrote to him, telling him that the vote for no confidence is accepted and will go ahead tomorrow, and it will be the first business of Parliament when it resumes. But also interesting to the Emperor, and now calling on Fiamē to step down before the vote of no confidence, because I think his politics was that. For Fiamē to step down before the vote of no confidence, because he knows exactly he doesn't have the number to have that vote of no confidence go through. Fiamē on the other side turned around and said, well, hey, if you know you have the number, well, let's not do it outside here. We'll go inside Parliament. So I think that's how Fiamē is responding to his call. So yeah, I think. She's right, under the Constitution, the vote of no confidence needs to go through the Parliament instead of the Prime Minister stepping down before that is happening.
How likely will La'auli support Tuileipa's motion of no confidence? Like, how likely are we going to see La'auli boost Tuileipa's numbers to oust Fiamē?
Yes, that's a nice question, because La'auli is counting the 9 ministers of the cabinet that they are part of the 20 MPs in his FAST party. And interesting to see the news on the weekend that the spokesperson for the government spoke to the daily paper telling that the 9 cabinet ministers are still loyal to Fiamē. So it will be interesting tomorrow what's going to happen, because if those 9 cabinet ministers are lining up with the Prime Minister and the other 5 ministers of the cabinet to make a total of 15 in the cabinet, then that means La'auli has only 20 MPs. But Yeah, because Laudi has told in a media conference last week that the vote of no confidence, they are not interested in the vote of no confidence. But they will have to see what is going to happen tomorrow in Parliament, and he won't tell us their move in Parliament tomorrow when the vote of no confidence will be tabled and goes through the House.
If this motion of no confidence is successful, can Fiamē dissolve Parliament? Does she have the power to dissolve Parliament and call for a snap election?
Most probably that will be her move, is to advise the head of state to dissolve Parliament, and the country will go into a snap election. But, interesting what she said on the 21st of January, that the government will go ahead because quite a number of amendments, especially the constitutional amendments for the Lands and Titles Court, and also the amendment for the Electoral Act to allow Samoan citizens residing overseas to cast their votes from where they are. So those are very important amendments, needs to be passed by the FARC government. But if this is going to happen tomorrow, then those amendments and especially the Land and Titles amendment will not go ahead.
And what are people in Samoa saying, Tipi? What are you hearing from the public?
Oh, interesting how people is now talking about the vote of no confidence tomorrow, because I think along all these years the HRPP government was in power. There was no vote of no confidence, but it's the first time now since we have a change of government after the 2021 general election. There's a vote of no confidence. And you know what? It's a big change in our political platform since the FARC government took over. It's more open and everything is coming out to the open. And the FARC government is saying, well, this is democracy in Samoa. We haven't seen this part of democracy in our country for so long.
Are people concerned?
Well, the majority of people are concerned because a vote of no confidence happened way, way back. You're talking about, what, more than 40 years ago?
Mm-hmm.
So I want to share you the motion filed by the opposition or the HRPP party in court, asking for declaratory orders for the Prime Minister to vacate his seat. Was heard today in the Supreme Court, but that matter is now adjourned, and all the lawyers agreed for the vote of no confidence to be heard first in Parliament tomorrow, and then to see from there where it goes, and then the matter will go back to court.
New Zealand Round Country Curriculum Literacy and Numeracy benchmark results show very few teenagers in the Realm Nations passed. Students must pass all 3 tests or complete the approved achievement standards before they can receive any NCEA qualifications. Caleb Fotheringham reports.
For the Cook Islands, 23% of teenagers passed reading, 13% passed numeracy and 23% passed writing. For Niue, 29% passed reading, 5% passed numeracy and 15% passed writing. And for Tokelau, 17% passed reading, 13% passed numeracy and 13% passed writing. New Zealand also had low results with 55% in numeracy, 66% in writing and 70% in reading. Cook Islands Education Minister Mac Mokoroa says the low NCEA pass rates are a cause for concern.
I think every minister or any parents who sees the results that's come to the fore, we do get concerned. And I suppose for me, as I said, what is the solutions? What is the way forward for us to raise the passing result?
Students need to pass the benchmark tests or achieve the NCEA co-requisite standards to get their certificate. In the Cook Islands, only 46% of students passed NCEA Level 1. Mr Mokoroa says more teachers are being trained with support from New Zealand universities.
Parents are concerned. Some parents have actually sent their kids to New Zealand, and we've I've personally discouraged some parents from sending their kids from New Zealand.
Mr. Mokoroa says there are other options like tutoring available for children instead of looking for education options outside of the country. Senior Research Fellow at the New Zealand Initiative, Dr. Michael Johnston, says it's not good news.
Addressing the problem involves going back to the primary school and teaching things differently. That's why in New Zealand we have rates of achievement that are higher than this, but NCEA Level 1 has taken a hit in achievement, primarily because students have not been able to get these key requirements under their belt.
He says more resources need to go into upskilling teachers to turn the results around.
Professional development is the key, and it's a matter of putting the money and the right people into doing that. So I don't know what the situation is in terms of what New Zealand is contributing to the Pacific Realms nations in terms of that professional development, but it will need to go in for there to be a decisive change.
95% of children who participated are in years 10 and 11. Students taking the benchmark tests can take them as many times as they want while in high school. With multiple attempts still available to students, those in the realm countries will hope it's enough time to turn the results around.
In the sporting world of rugby league and rugby, we're used to seeing the All Blacks Barrett brothers or the Savia siblings wreaking havoc on their opponents. Now, the Onosemo Tuilepa twins are making moves on the field and are fast becoming names to look out for as they come through the ranks of representative rugby league. Demiel and Christabel Onosemo Tuilepa were chosen to represent New Zealand as part of the Ahi Ka Aotearoa squad. This year, they've been selected to play for Penina Pacifica, a team put together in collaboration with Rugby Australia and the Australian government. The Penina Pacifica program provides pathways for Pacific women in rugby, offering playing and professional development opportunities. This year's squad features 17 Samoan and 13 Tongan players who will compete against the Super W teams on their pre-season games. Grace Vivai has more.
The Tuilepa twins come from a family of 10 and hail from the villages of Lepa and Vava'u in Samoa. They began their athletic careers in their teenage years where they played their first game in 2018 for the Samoa Secondary Schools rugby competition. From there they became the youngest to be named in the Manusina squad at only 14 years old. Demiel says this is a big opportunity for them, especially coming from the islands where there are less opportunities.
This is a really big opportunity for us. Coming from the islands, when we came, we didn't have a lot, and we had to pave the ways ourselves. So I think this is a really cool opportunity for us, and yeah, can't wait.
The coach for Penina Pacifica Mataafa, Ramsey Tomokino, says the team is still quite young, and he hopes that the enthusiasm comes through.
They're still kids. The thing with our Penina team is, it's actually very young. I think the majority of the team will be under 25, which is quite exciting. So, and then we've got a few older heads in there, but yeah, majority of them are quite young.
Christabel says that they want to reach the highest level.
Wish to make All Blacks or even Manusina, and yeah, we just want to reach the highest level.
Mataafa remembers their father Setu Tuilepa, who also played for Manu Samoa, and says if they're anything like him, they'll be great.
If they're a chip off the block of their father Setu, then absolutely, they've definitely got something to add. So yeah.
Demiel's advice for everyone is remember to work hard.
I'll say work hard, play hard, and always dream big and never give up. When you're having an off day, just come to the field and have a run fitness, or go to the gym.
Still in sports, the weekend was jam-packed with several competitions. And joining me to talk about netball, Super Rugby Pacific and Sevens Rugby is our senior sports journalist, Eliesa Tora.
Hola, Eliesa. The 2025 Pacific Oz Sports and Netball Series ended in Brisbane on Saturday, with Samoa claiming the top title. How did they manage to do that?
Yes, indeed. Samoa's Tifo Moana turned on the magic at the event during the last week, and ended up with winning the title against Scotland, 54-52 in the final. But I think the story for them really was how they went through the competition undefeated. They went through defeating all the opponents they had, and repeated wins over Scotland in the final pool game on Friday, and then the final on Saturday. They defeated the Fiji Pearls 54-45 in their first game last Monday. Then they upset the defending champions, the Tongan Tala, 55-52 in a strong game on Tuesday. Then they beat Papua New Guinea 70-52. They faced the First Nations Black Swans team and won 54-42, and then defeated Scotland 48-45 in the last pool match on Friday, and then 54-52 in the final, as I said earlier. Definitely a better performance from Samoa, who were led by Christiana Manua, one of the stalwarts of Australian netball, who plays in the competition in Australia, and a very good coach in Natalie Matthews, who came on board for the first time to coach the team for the series, and very impressive that they were able to do that. And now the fact that they defeated Scotland twice and also defeated Tonga, who were both seeded and ranked higher than them on the World Netball standing and ranking, will now mean that Samoa should move up in ranking also. So overall, a very good showing from Samoa, and they were able to establish themselves as the champions on Saturday, and the first time they won the title, stopping Tonga from continuing with their dominance, with Tonga having won the last 4 series titles.
Awesome. Now, just changing our focus here a bit, there were some close results in the second round of the Super Rugby Pacific competition. How did Moana Pacifica and Fiji Drua perform at the weekend?
Well, following their close losses to the Western Force and Brumbies a week ago, both Moana Pacifica and Fiji Drua took on their second round matches with a lot of drive and enthusiasm. Moana Pacifica, with All Black star Adi Savea leading them for the second time, were visitors at Suncorp Stadium in Brisbane on Friday night. They were down 21-0 at halftime. In the first half before Savea scored a try, and they were able to trail 21-8 at the break. But the Reds just had too much power for them, even though Kieran Taumai-Folau scored 2 tries for Moana Pacifica in the second half, and Moana ended up losing out in that game. But in Napier on Saturday, the Fiji Drua also lost out in a very close game that they had actually led into the last 10 minutes of the game. About 2,000 Fijian fans were at the ground at McLean Park in very good weather conditions. That was similar to what probably the Ndrua would have been used to in Nandi, where they are based, or in Lautoka, where they have played a lot of their games. Ndrua had the game in the bag in the last 10 minutes after their number 8, Elia Vanakaivata, scored from a line-out move. But the Hurricanes came back immediately, and they scored a winning try just before the final whistle to win. But a lot of Fijian fans who turned up to support Ndrua said they were very happy with what they saw. The best result and the best showing, they said, in an away game, especially here in New Zealand, that they've seen since 2022. And head coach Glenn Jackson said, it was also disappointing to lose in the end, and apologize to the Fijian fans. So Moana Pacifica now hosts the Highlanders in North Harbour on Friday night, and then Ndrua will fly to Sydney to play against the Waratahs this weekend in their round 3 matches. And there is hope that either team or both teams will be able to record their first wins in the 2025 series this weekend.
Now, Vancouver hosted the 4th round of the World 7 Series, with Fiji competing in both the men's and women's competition. What's the update from that?
Well, the biggest disappointment was the Fiji men's team in the semifinals, where they had played South Africa. saying disappointment because South Africa lost a player after the second minute of the game and played virtually 13 minutes for the rest of the game with only 6 players because one of their players was red carded. Although Fiji had scored early and taken the lead 5-0, they were not able to use that one-man advantage, and they lost 12-10 in the end. So Fiji dropped out of the lead that they were sharing at the top of the points table with Argentina and Spain, and now have dropped to number 3 on the current standing after Vancouver. Now with Argentina beating South Africa in the final of the men's competition. So South Africa came through against Fiji and then lost to Argentina in the final. Argentina now leading the men's points table with 68 points. Fiji with 62 now in third, and Spain now on 64 after they also beat Fiji in the third place playoff. But great news for the Fijiana women's team. First time in the series they've played in the final. They defeated Japan 28-7 in the semi-final and just lost to New Zealand this afternoon in the final, with New Zealand winning 41-7 in the women's competition. So the win has now seen the Fijiana team jump from 11th spot on the points table before the Vancouver Sevens to 8th spot, which is important because the bottom 4 teams in the current competition in both the men's and the women's will have to play in a promotion relegation series later in May. So to avoid that, the teams must continue to fight for the top 8 spots. So Fiji is now in the 8th spot in the women's competition, and the teams will now head to Hong Kong for the next leg of the HSBC 7th series, with New Zealand leading, and hopefully Fiji will be able to continue their impressive performance that they've displayed in Vancouver this weekend at the next leg in Hong Kong.
That's Pacific Waves for today. For all episodes, head over to rnz.co.nz/Pacific. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, tō whā soifua.